so excited to do today's podcast on happiness. This is a topic that really has interested me ever since I was a child, and I dove deeper into the topic later on in my adult life and was reading more about famous philosophers, how they viewed happiness, etc. And what really came to me at that point was the one quote from Buddha that says, "Nobody else but you can make you happy or unhappy." And this is something we will talk about in today's podcast in more detail. So I have a very special guest today that I like to introduce, and it's Angela-Michelle Boronad. I had the pleasure of meeting you a couple of months ago here in Switzerland, and you are originally from the UK. You live in Paris, you're married, you have 3 children, and you're an intuitive coach. So sounds super exciting, and I'm so happy to have met you and do this podcast with you. So thank you so much for joining. And
Thank you.
yeah, could you tell me in your own words a little more about yourself and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you, Manuela, for having me. It's such an honor to be here and a privilege. And so an intuitive coach and a Reiki master. And I have this mission to brighten up my clients' universe and to help them learn how to master their own energy. And the whole point is really so that they feel excited by life and grateful at the same time. So that's kind of what my mission is. And it's took me my entire life to get me where I am today, primarily because I always had this number one obstacle, which was fear of what other people thought of me and being judged. And working through that, I've got to the stage now where I live with no regrets, or as near to as I possibly can. And today I just love serving my clients, and I'm very grateful that I can help them in some way navigate their way forward, especially during these kind of complicated times at the moment. And so not only do I help the clients, but I also help my kids and my family, which was such a motivating factor for me to do all these studies and spend years learning and growing. And by incorporating energy work, I have found that I help clients to move and to make shifts faster, because there are so many mental, emotional, physical, and like spiritual blockages in the body. So by working on unblocking those, we can propel ourselves forward. So I just could give you an example of my daughter. She just started college, new college, and she was having difficulties mixing in with the new group of girlfriends, and she was feeling very low and heavy, and there was a lot of emotions and sadness. And of course I let her feel those emotions, but after a certain time I worked on the energy with her to raise the vibration, and I tried to get her to understand that nobody can take your power away, and that nobody should dim your light. And when you kind of sit tall, stand tall, and allow the universe to come to you, that is when it does come to you. Whereas if you get small and sad, then things last longer. Pain and suffering last longer. So we worked on what I call positive affirmations, but it's when you actually thank in advance. So she was saying things at night like, thank you for sending me friends that make me smile and help me to feel happy. And so that's just the slight twist in the coaching that I do. It's kind of knowing that things is going to work out.
Wow, I love it. I love it. And this is exactly what happiness means. It's kind of a choice, right? It's coming from the inside, like in the example of your daughter. And like Buddha said, nobody else can make you happy or unhappy. It's our internal choice. And that's also the definition for me of happiness. Because happiness, we cannot go to the store and purchase. We cannot, buy. Like we try, we are in a society, more and more the awareness raises that, we cannot buy a new car or new outfit or new house and it makes us long-term happy. It's a temporary fix. So long-term happiness for me is really coming from the inside out, and doing this type of mindset shifts and understanding that this is really coming from us, and it's our own decision. And yeah, what we want to make out of life. And this is in our own hands. And there is no finger pointing at somebody else, or you made me unhappy, or you did this to me and now I'm unhappy. This is not the way how it works. It's really taking responsibility for our own life and choosing happiness above anything for us individually. So what does happiness mean for you, Angela-Michelle?
Yeah, it's such a big, broad question. And I know that when I'm satisfied with myself, especially when my body's energetically healthy, then I'm generally in what I'd say is a good mood. And I know when I help people, then I feel self-happiness. And then when I feel self-happiness, I just get more confidence, and then I feel happy. But I try not to confuse it with pleasure, because I also think I'm happy when I'm eating delicious foods or receiving a compliment or having a cuddle. But it's a hard, tangible thing. But basically, I think it comes down to being at peace with yourself and just accepting yourself for who you are. And then every day you're happy. But it's a long time to get to that stage where you just say, I'm happy because, I'm healthy and happy and alive, and I'm choosing to see the good.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you achieve it? Are there any tools you use, or how do you achieve happiness?
Yeah, so there are a lot of things I've learned to I do think what we put into our body, so eating healthily and drinking well, water and fluids is important, because I think that our body is very, very important, and to get the body, mind and soul balanced, we need to nourish ourselves. And I also think it's important to create healthy boundaries, not just with friends and families, but with everybody. And also by helping people and giving gratitude, all these things make me feel happy. Not just happy with myself, but I just generally feel like I've got a good energetic vibration going on. But what I do is I do practice something called Ho'oponopono. It's a practice about giving gratitude, and it's about saying 4 phrases, repeating them over and over. So it's I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, please forgive me. And you can say those 4 phrases in any order, and you can say it at any time during the day, and it could last between a couple of minutes and an entire hour. And it's something that I do kind of like, if something's irritated me, let's say you've had an argument with a spouse or a child, then you might repeat that. And it's kind of like taking a step back and not getting into a confrontation mode. And who are you saying these 4 words to? It's kind of between yourself and either the divine or source, or you could say your higher self or the better version of you. So you're saying, I'm sorry, thank you, please forgive me, I love you. And in a way, you're kind of talking to yourself or the divine, and it's trying to reassure yourself that, it's all good, you accept who you are, and you can get through whatever's just happened. And it could be another example. I mean, maybe somebody overate and felt guilty. Then you say those 4 phrases over and over again. Or so many people today are so upset with what governments are doing or what the actual situation is today. And then you would say those sentences. And again, it's between you and the divine. And you just say it over until you just feel more at peace. So again, I say it throughout the day, but I mean, if you were only going to do it at one point, it would be best at night. And the reason would be because it kind of it clears the body of all emotions and thoughts that have been attached to you during the day. And it's a way of cleansing. It's almost like taking a shower. It's like getting rid of things that were niggling in your head and latching onto you. And it's a way of just helping you to feel healthier and more balanced in the body, mind, and soul. So that is a practice that I do. And I feel that it just helps me to feel happy because it kind of balances me and grounds me and helps me get over anything that happens during the day. And of course, things happen throughout the day all the time for everybody.
Yeah. Wow, I love it. I love it. Where is it coming from
So it comes from Hawaii, and there is an amazing study how it was practiced in a prison, and the person who did this practice, he was just in his office in a prison, working there, and by saying it over and over and over again, he actually managed to convert so many convicts from being like, I don't want to judge people, but from having done bad things, it actually changed them. So just by actually loving yourself, the message is you can actually change the world little by little. Because it's all about, the more that we love ourselves, the more that other people will learn to love themselves. And no, we won't become selfish. We will all become like a kinder society where everybody realizes the importance of each other.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow, that's such a powerful statement. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Because how do you achieve states of happiness, Manuela? Because I know that you do a lot of like self-love and self-care practices.
Yeah, good question. I started more with yoga. That was more my journey when I started, because I was at university and I kind of felt stressed. And then I started with yoga to find more balance. And what really helped me there was probably the breathing exercises that I didn't like at the beginning at all. But this really helped me balance my mind, and it lasted like for a week. And then after that, I went to do the yoga teacher training in India and dove more into the philosophy of yoga. And then on top of that, I went more into meditation, Vipassana meditation, and found more connection to myself. So while I was living back in Switzerland and working in corporate, I would end up doing these retreats, these 10-day meditation retreats that are actually silent retreats, just because I would so be able to connect with myself and find that deep inner happiness that I wasn't able to feel when I was out in the corporate world. I didn't have the time. I would be running around too much. So that really gave me the time to connect with myself. And also tagging on your story with the prisoners that was done with Ho'oponopono, Vipassana was also done with people in prison, and it's the same story. People suddenly realized what happened, and they started having another connection to themselves and seeing themselves from a completely different light. And so techniques like that are so powerful to bring people back into their own better alignment, into a different connection with themselves. So whatever method there is, whatever works for each individual, it's different. Everybody is interested in different methods and techniques, and there are so many out there. So it's all about choosing and feeling like, what am I interested in? And maybe deep diving more into that. So after yoga, then I went to meditation, and then I went more into more internal work. For me, I really wanted to understand more the mindset. How does the mind work in all of that? Because that was one of my main interests also, because through yoga, I was able to release mental blockages, physical blockage on a physical level. But going more into the mindset, I could reverse it. If I'm having a shift and I can see things from a different perspective, suddenly blockages and tension would release out of my body. So it works the other way around too, that I'm changing my mindset and I'm clearing blockages. It has an effect on my physical well-being as well. So that was also really, really interesting. And that's what I'm focusing on more at this point in my life, really clearing out subconscious patterns we have achieved and taken on throughout our lives, and to clearing them out. So it's more like peeling an onion, that's the metaphor I like to use. It's like peeling layer and layer of beliefs that are not really ours, to come back to our core true self, to our authentic self. And that's where I'm finding is the happiness. That's where we are in our true connected state. Yeah.
Oh yes. And what about do you have any like morning or evening routine? Because I have this morning and evening routine that I call I don't know, the winning formula, and it's something that I do to just set off the day in the right state. And I think it can either like set you up for success or quite the reverse. So again, it would be like you said, but I would do breathing work, and again I would give gratitude first thing in the morning. You know, what am I grateful for, to just, you know, to help me to feel positive straight away. And then if I was doing stretching, I would try to be conscious and aware of it. And then also like setting intentions for the day, but not like a to-do list, more like a to feel list, the emotions that I wanted to experience during the day, and so many other things at night. Are there things like that I mean, do you do yoga at night, or is it in the morning, or?
Yeah, I start with gratitude too, like really the first thing in the morning. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for, a new day, all the new things I can create today. It's another 24 hours. I'm alive, that I can do something and choose life for me, and make that decision. And then what I like to do is, yeah, in the morning, I like to go out in nature, go for a walk, go for a run, or do yoga, get some physical activity. And all that before I'm checking any news, before I'm checking any messages, etc., just to be in the right alignment starting out my day. And I feel if I don't do that, I'm jumping right into a work day. I am still looking for the balance in the afternoon or the evening. I never get it. So for me, this is really so powerful to have a good morning routine, to be in the proper alignment, and maybe add meditation depending what I need, what I feel that day. And but I've really noticed if I skip it, I try to cheat myself and save some time. I'm losing the time during the day. Actually, things take me longer to achieve, and I'm not in the right mindset. So it's really important to me. I've learned that lesson. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I have 3 kids, so not an excuse, but it's hard to sometimes, you know, go for that. Well, everything is possible if you wake up really early, but I still think it is actually possible to just take self-care, even just by waking up 10 minutes earlier. Just having those 10 minutes of just trying to focus on yourself makes a big difference, and the same at night. So I just wanted to add, even if you don't have a lot of time, it's still possible, and it's still absolutely worth setting the day off. As also when you go to bed, you know, not just falling asleep after having watched the screen, but actually taking a few 10 minutes to just kind of connect again, and also maybe, you know, ask yourself some questions that help you just to get into this relaxed state of having gotten rid of different emotions during the day, and maybe asking yourself, you know, who I am, what do I want, and then kind of go to bed knowing, or setting that intention that, you know, you're going to find out in the morning what direction you're going in. I love it. And how does it, like the way that you live now, being so consciously aware, affect your family or your surroundings? Is there an effect? Do they notice?
Yeah, definitely. And what I notice more, I'm trying always to look at how is the surrounding reacting, and how is it reflecting upon me. So of course, if I'm in a connected and very nice state, I feel like the surrounding is in the same state. And if I am off and the surrounding acts, maybe friends or family, irritated with something or judgmental or blaming, then I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, what does that have to do with me? Where am I not in my alignment? Where am I blaming myself? Where am I critiqueful of myself? So this is really, at this point in my life, it's such a good mirror, the outside, to see where am I emotionally, because we don't always notice our subconscious and our emotions, how they are reacting and acting and what's coming up. But the outside is really a powerful way of showing me what state I am in. So if I'm using a trigger, for example, or anything that affects me, I'm deep diving into my own subconscious or my own mind. What's happening? Why is it triggering me? What can I change? So I'm looking at it. This is like, wow, it doesn't feel good in the moment maybe, but it's like such a gift to see what is underneath that trigger. There is something underneath that says, oh, look at me. There is a loving part underneath. and not a part that's afraid and scared, but something else that wants to come out that I haven't looked at. And so this is all like part of the growth process we go through, to become a better version of ourselves every day. And yeah, again, going back to that onion example, there is another layer that triggers me, right? So till I'm more in the center of myself, there will be things will be showing up every day. And but what I found is that they show up less frequently. The more we work on ourselves, they show up less frequently. And the periods of happiness, they are just lasting longer. It's more a content happy feeling throughout longer periods of time. So that really has changed my life so much in the last few years that I'm so grateful to have found this type of work and worked on that. And I can see it in that light that any trigger, anything on the outside is happening for me and not against me, as we hear so often. So this is just really the example that I'd like to share, that whatever happens and triggers me in a way, I have an opportunity to get to know myself better and look at myself closer in that sense.
Yeah. So powerful, the mirror method. And it's actually really it is triggering as well, because if you say to someone, so it was Carl Jung, Swiss psychoanalysis, who created that mirror method, which is all about if something irritates you in another person or in an environment, then it's there to help you understand yourself better. I'm paraphrasing, he wrote it slightly differently, but it's all about what triggers you always comes back to yourself. And it can be quite difficult, because if there is somebody that is triggering you, often the stereotype would be a mother-in-law or someone like that. And you have to look at them. Why is it doing, why are they doing it? And so often it comes back to they're doing it might not be, maybe they're taking a lot of control. It might not be that you are taking a lot of control, but there is something that you can't let go, and it is food for thought. I find it so powerful, because it all comes down to, again, accepting that we all have different flaws and different, well, perceived flaws, things that we perceive are not perfect. And if we could just learn to acknowledge them and accept them and love ourselves, then we would feel at peace. And then by being at peace, we would be happy. So basically, when we see something in somebody or an environment that is triggering us, it really is a sign that we need to send out love in a way. We need to show compassion to that other person, because there's something within us that it's touching a chord. It's something that we ourselves haven't gone through, digested. We haven't peeled that extra layer of the onion, as you said it so well. So once we can actually look at this mirror method and not get offended by somebody saying, well, it's all about you, I think we would then find our best and happiest and most fulfilled self. So it is a lot of work, and as long as we don't get offended by it, it's an amazing tool to progress and to actually learn to just accept ourselves for who we are and others. So again, showing compassion to everybody is such an amazing tool that I think we learn, because it's so easy to say, oh, just love your neighbor. It's not that easy, not all the time. It is something that happens with time, and we learn to just accept everybody. So again, it's coming back to that again, gratitude, compassion, love if you can, or working your way there.
Wow. Yeah, and with that also comes, I think, in society nowadays, self-love or all that is kind of has a negative touch. Sometimes people think it's egoistic. I need to put the other person first. But what it all comes down to is really filling your own cup first. So how have you experienced that, about filling your own cup first, and what does that mean to you?
It's such a big thing for me, because I used to think, self-love was selfish, which is quite the reverse. I used to think, oh, if I put myself first before my kids, before my family, what type of mother am I, or that kind of thing. But I have learned over time, just like that airplane analogy, You know, if the pressure comes down and the oxygen mask comes down, you do have to put it on yourself first before you can help others, because you need the breath. If you don't have the breath, you just can't help anybody else. And it's really hard sometimes to understand that you deserve that space. You deserve to take up place in this world and to acknowledge just how important you are. And it's funny because I just said you've got to, not got to, but it's good to show compassion to others and accept other people. But to be able to be compassionate for others, it only really comes easily and flows through you when you actually love yourself first, when you accept yourself for who you are. So it's kind of, again, this circle: love yourself, and then it's easy to be compassionate for others. Right. But when you are not full of self-love, and not like, it's not like saying, oh, I love myself, I love myself. Self-love is actually helping yourself to not get triggered by having enough sleep, by taking care of yourself, by connecting with nature, by taking that breath. It could be just be a few little things like that, but that just gives you enough, fills you up enough so that you can then go and help other people. So yeah, again, looking after yourself, putting yourself first is actually not selfish. It's really the best thing you can do. It's selfless.
Yeah, exactly. And to understand that fully and get into that, that's also coaching. These are coaching methods out there that can help. So can you tell us a little more, how can coaching support in finding more happiness in that sense?
Absolutely. So I come back to, I really believe that believing is seeing, as opposed to the other proverb, which is seeing is believing. I really believe that when you believe something, then you'll start to see everything materialize in your life. I also believe that happiness is a choice, just like any other emotion. So again, that cup we were kind of talking about, half full or half empty, it's up to you how you want to look at it. And when you start looking at it in a more positive light, and, you know, again, easier said than done, but when you do start to realize, like you said before, that things are happening for you, not to you, then I do believe that more success comes into your relationships at work and your personal life. And it becomes, like I said before, when you show compassion, it's kind of, the more that you give yourself self-love, the more that it's easier to show compassion, and then you enjoy giving to others, and more pleasure comes your way, as does abundance, as does, you stop feeling jealous, or you stop being competitive. Nevertheless, you're still more productive and creative. You still move forward in life and achieve wonderful things, but it's just so much easier. And so I'm sure, just like yourself, but we all have specialist techniques, but, you know, we're all there, all of us, our purpose is to help people to just feel happy, is that we help them to handle different thoughts, like self-sabotaging thoughts, or those negative self-talk in your ear. So we help people to adjust those thoughts, maybe manifest more quickly, finding the courage to follow that dream, to take that step, to face your fears. The biggest obstacle I had my whole life of, you know, what will other people think? It was crazy how that pulled me back. I think you just feel more confident when you have coaching, when you work through things, and because of the energy work, and I know you do that too, the physical, mental, and emotional well-being, it just improves, and then you feel happy.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, it's that. And so tell us what you do and how you help so many people.
Yeah, it's really kind of like you said, with the coaching, helping to clear out what's blocking somebody from achieving where they want to be and where they are at now. So there is this gap in between, right? We have the dream, we want to go to here, but how do I get to here? And there is, most of it, 90% or more, is emotional, subconscious, negative talk or blockages or patterns that keep us from achieving the dream. Otherwise we would have it already. The gap would be closed. So anybody who is interested in achieving that dream, whatever they are passionate about, their mission in life, their goal, this is really clearing out what's hindering somebody from taking that next step, what's hindering somebody from having that goal and having it all, because we can actually have it all, whatever we want to. It's, yeah, we take step by step and clear things out. But most of the work is not in the outside that happens. Strategy is only like 10-20% maybe even. It's really about taking the next step, letting go of fears, letting go of blockages, and freeing ourselves to become more the version of who we are and tapping into our own true space and living from the inside out, like a beautiful flower that opens up and knows what it is. If it's a rose, but not a tree. So knowing who we are and what we are meant to be and what we are meant to do in this life, and walking people, helping, supporting people to go to the next level. That's really what I love to do, and the process I've been following, and it opened so many amazing new avenues, so many new doors. I've been meeting so many new people, and it's just evolving constantly. I mean, the process in the end can never stop. We always have new desires. We can always create new things with life. Life never stops. Sometimes we have this mindset that life stops at a certain point, or I should have achieved this or that. But in fact is no, we can always create more things that bring us more joy and happiness, and to really express ourselves from the inside out. So this is really what I'm standing for and what I'm supporting people with.
Absolutely. It's so getting into your heart space and trying to get out of the mind and not letting all the programming we've had our entire lives, whether it's from family or schools or, the workplace, about all these different rules. So yeah, it's really just understanding that there is no age limit to perceived success, and you can be healthy at any age, and you can run marathons at 90. And it's not just a dream, it actually can be a reality. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Life is for living and for having fun.
Yeah. So what are the services you exactly offer, Angela-Michelle?
So I do a range of things. So a lot around energy. So a lot of Reiki work, which is kind of hands-on work. I also do it at distance, and it does work just as well. And what I really find is that it helps people to shift very fast, emotionally speaking. So instead of having a couple of hours of coaching, which I also do, which is super important, it just helps to clear those blockages in the body that is preventing them from propelling forward. And I also do space clearings for actual homes, because sometimes you might have had a guest or someone was ill and the energy feels heavy. And there is a lot of science actually behind it, that when a room is cleared, things, more abundance comes your way, better jobs, better emotions, better happier, positive emotions. And finally, then I also I'm very intuitive like you, so I just often feel that there is a lot of messages that come through, and it could be that key message to the one person that really helps them to understand why they've done what they've done or what they need to do. So very intuitive based, use so many fabulous methods, but in the end it's all about just helping the client to just really feel great and happy, and help them to master that energy, so that everyday life is again
excited and happy. So anybody in our listeners, anybody who wants to become more happy, wants to take the next steps, how can they contact you, Angela-Michelle?
Okay, well, I'm sure that we might be able to put a link, but I have my website, which is angelicaarc.com. And then I also do Facebook lives every week, and that is at sign brighten up your universe. And I also do YouTube. So again, you would just type Angelica Arc, and everything is there.
I love it. So we are also putting all the information in our speaker notes, and you can have access to both of us, and yes, connect with us. And
yes, Manuela, you have your website as well, and you've got a lot of wonderful information that you share as well on your Facebook page to help lift everybody up and help them to see the good things and the motivating and inspiring things.
Absolutely, especially in this time of crisis on the outside, there is a lot of internal work we can do, and because it's all about finding the happiness within. Whatever happens on the outside, there is no control we can do at this moment. The only thing we can do is look into ourselves and try to find that peace and that happiness that's within us, and tap more and more into that. So
yeah, I just love to just add what I already said, is just don't let anybody take your power away, and
well,
nobody can unless you allow them to.
well,
And that's all from within. So don't let anybody take it away. And that's just, I'm just talking like happy energy wise. Nobody can say anything that can hurt you if you don't allow it to hurt you, and that's just so powerful in itself, and it just changes lives. So
well,
we're all in control, and it's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Manuela. Thank you.
thank you so much. That was a beautiful closing, Angela-Michelle. I love it. And thank you so much for joining my podcast. It's been such an inspirational topic talking with you. And I feel now all that joy and happiness now just talking about it. So that helps as well. I'm finding just talking about happiness, it's all in there. So you feel it, you feel the energy. And thank you so much to all our listeners. And thank you.